it's a great pleasure. We're kind of still at the tail end of a pandemic, but Ffoton have decided to restart our conversations with photographers. My pleasure to be in Peter Finnemore's shed. And Peter's renowned for working with photography and using photography as a medium in order to create his art. I suppose, Peter, we take you back to the very beginning and the influence Glasgow Art College had on you. What was that like?
Yeah, well, thanks for Ffoton for coming along here today. Again, after pandemic times, it's good to see kind of faces around kind of the house. I'm happy to have you here. Happy to participate. So I did my BA photography at the Glasgow School of Art. It was one of the first art courses which contained photography as a main module. Previously, photography was mostly in sort of maybe graphics types of courses there. So this was the first module where photography was located within a fine art context and explored as a creative medium in its own right.
And what sort of things did you pick up on your journey through college?
Interesting question there. Two tutors were kind of important as well there. So they were big influences on artistic vision. So two main tutors was an American landscape photographer, Thomas Joshua Cooper. Extravagant, loud, very passionate, very enthusiastic kind of a photographer. Had a very intense view of photography as an expressive medium there. He'd kind of shout at students and say, "God damn it, we're going to keep the department open till midnight tonight." And the other one was Roger Palmer, a very erudite English kind of artist who works with photography. So a really good balance between sort of expressive photography and maybe more sort of conceptual, sort of intellectual uses of photography there. But what I really liked about the course was that photography and photographic ideas were in relation to maybe fine art ideas ever. So it wasn't like in the narrow band of like photographic history that we're aware of, the language of modernism, painting, 3D, stuff like that. So we had studios as well. So we worked not only as photographs, as kind of a two-dimensional document representation, but also notions of photographs as materials that they are on paper.
Okay. That
paper could be any types of materials as well. The paper could be scrunched up, etc. It could be printed on all sorts of surfaces there. And photography may be used in relation to 3D work, installation, filmmaking, slide projections there. Nobody does tape slides anymore, do we? Most of sync material of that there. So also it's a really good community there as well. Okay. That's kind of important to mention that there's a really good community of students there who are very supportive. Everybody mixed from different departments of each other, and then there's a really good sort of exchange of ideas there. So there's a number of students from that period who've done really well, like Douglas Gordon, Ross Sinclair, Christine Boland, Richard Leroy, and a few others. So it was a nice little still community.
And were they your contemporaries in
yes,
in your year?
Yeah.
And what did you learn? What was the main thing that you brought out of being at Glasgow? What was the thing that sparked your imagination?
Things that kind of photography could convey complex ideas there. That it's a complex medium, and that it could exchange a whole range of life experiences, emotions, and sort of concepts as well there. So it's an expanded view of photography there. So let's, maybe in comparison to contemporary courses like in Newport, which is dealing with, at that time, specifically in photojournalism, that had a very sort of specific use of photography, whatever, which might be seen as a very closed and narrow view of what the medium could be.
Right. So, Pontiats to Glasgow, it's a big jump.
Yeah. When I was there, right, there's an S4C TV crew there, right, and because I was the only Welsh person around there, they asked me the same question.
Right.
And the answer was, the further the better. But unfortunately that was edited out, so it's from his programme. So this is quite nice to bring the anecdote out, right. But initially, the reasons was that I did a year in Trent Poly in Nottingham, left there, and I heard lots of stories about Thomas Cooper. Went up to meet him just to talk about ideas of photography, because I was interested in ideas of images of beyond the surfaces and to essences of landscape, and I had notions of spirituality in photography. So I wanted to talk to Cooper about his ideas there. But when I was there, the same day, the course had been validated to be a degree. So there's a bit of coincidence and serendipity there.
Yeah.
So they encouraged me to apply for it though, and I did there.
Interesting you bring up spirituality in photography. What exactly do you mean by that?
It is a life beyond the surface level. Thomas Madden in Magic Mountain, he says it's a symbol for something beyond itself though. It implies something else there.
Yeah.
So a lot of photography deals with detail, obviously, kind of whatever, like in Walker Evans, fantastic images of surfaces of the world, whatever, but into an area which has got maybe more, maybe emotional depth, maybe spiritual depth. And it's a challenge as well, that how do you photograph spirituality or something beyond itself?
Yes.
And one of my favourite books which influenced me was 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Right.
And in that book, I can't remember who, but somebody takes up photography and daguerreotypes and he wants to make photographs of gods there. Right. And he comes across the solution of creating some sort of weird number of juxtapositions, and through that he's able to photograph divinity stuff.
Yes, yeah. I know you're interested in philosophy. I mean, I think I read in heard in one of your interviews, there's a philosopher that you're particularly attuned to, and music as well, Mahler and things like that. How have they influenced your photographic art? If you go back maybe to Beethoven, whatever, so Beethoven, it's a book about a spiritual development of Beethoven, which is interesting as well. But Beethoven's work is about emotional depth, whatever, and sort of drawing out nuances of an interior life there. Yes.
So I'm interested to ask the question: is those types of emotional depth and nuances possible in photography? Because photography deals with sort of realism, such as and that's a part of its language to be utilised in these types of searches. But also, it's closely linked to existentialism, as you mentioned, whatever kind of relationship of philosophy to work.
Yes.
So existentialism deals with being in the world, choices that we make. Why do we make those choices? Are choices predetermined? Do we have free will? Is life pointless? Does action have any particular meaning in it, or is it all random and chaotic, whatever? So authors like Camus, Sartre, and others, were interesting starting points on that type of journey about what is it to be alive, really, and the search for meaning in identity. So the Gwendraeth House project is really about a search for kind of the constructs of identity, which are family, background, environment, etc. And the past on the present as well. However, past still plays a strong part on impacting like upon the present. So all these are sort of blending together, really, that into some sort of search through photography, where I say that kind of the camera becomes like a bridge, rather, between like the inner and the outer. So it connects internal worlds and sort of the external worlds.
I take it from what you've been talking about, that you have emotional depth and spiritual depth. Am I right in making that assumption?
Hopefully, hopefully. But again, that's a key to play, not to get too wound up and too deep in that, whatever, right? Because that can make you kind of crazy as well. So quite humour is quite important. Sense of humour, so you get distance between these sort of deep existential questions. But in terms of a relationship to visual ideas, the more, as I say, emotional depth that you have, or intellectual depth, hopefully you can mine that. So through constantly growing, that you find deeper and deeper nuances of creative and visual possibilities. So let's say we got this project, Gwendraeth House, which has been going for about 30 years, from that, I've created maybe several chapters, distinct chapters of bodies of work, so they imply a sense of kind of a renewal, growing, exploration of self-identity, exploration of what photographic medium is and the language of photography. So in a way, that art photography keeps me refreshed and young.
Right, okay. Well, in a sense, you've come full circle as well, haven't you? You know, you left here and came back.
Yeah.
And was that coming back a conscious decision, or was it pre-planned?
It is... Well, what is it to do with? A lot of it's to do with circumstances, really, though, as well. But even when I was in Glasgow in Michigan, I still wanted to deal with ideas of identity and place and being further away from whatever home place gives you a little bit more distance there.
Yes.
Because you might be coming across certain views, scenes, details that, because they're so everyday, that you ignore them because they're like everyday, they're like worthless or become normal or such. So going away and coming back, you can see things like afresh there.
When you came back, what did you see afresh?
Possibilities of a garden as being like a backdrop for art, interaction with nature, and time aspects of interacting with nature. Also delving within family history, that's kind of quite important there as well. So you have a better understanding of what makes family members who they are, impacts of wider cultural, historical impacts on their sort of decisions though as well. And also the community as well, and the landscape there, because the landscape environment is situated in the Gwendraeth Valley. It's historically a coal mining area as well. So closing of Cynhydra, others that impacts on relevant social levels there. So it's about exploration of those historical things on the landscape, but on people as well, and open cast mining. Because outside the window there, in the 1970s, there's an open cast, constant noise there as well, And just beyond that, in the 1990s, with Ffoton, we had the biggest hole in Europe there as well.
Indeed, yeah.
So, kind of, it's like how the local is embedded in economy and how that begins to change kind of the horizon lines and landscapes here. It's kind of quite important and how it impacts it. So all these things tend to merge
Yeah.
in together. Right? So the art process becomes holistic.
Okay.
It's an
Right,
impact.
Yeah, yeah.
Of
And,
everything.
I mean, you have a picture in your book which of you standing in a with loads of sunflowers around you and a house on your head, and my head is my only home.
Yeah.
Can you elucidate a little on that, perhaps?
Yeah. So the title comes from a Captain Beefheart song.
Cool. From which album?
Probably a
Trout Mask,
right there. So sometimes the title comes before the images.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's interesting.
So a title suggests an image for me, and I kind of work with it. So because I'm slightly deaf, I mishear things right like that, which can be useful. So if I mishear song lyrics, or whatever, that's REM song lyrics, and I think, well, that's going to be a really fantastic title. I'm going to make an image with that. So, but with that particular image, it becomes about subject and object. Lots of photographers, they're going to be behind the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in holistic terms, to create a sense of wholeness, completeness, to be in front of a camera, so it becomes like a performative image.
Right,
and
okay.
Something a bit more whole there.
Yes.
But also, it's about working with nature as well, though, so that nature becomes like a studio setting backdrop there.
Mm-hmm.
Spending time with sunflowers, making sure that they're healthy, that they grow, and then wake up in the morning and do something spontaneous with this background there.
Okay.
But the heads there, right there, on top of the heads, there is a little sculpture, architectural sculpture of a house there. And that is made out of an old door.
Okay.
It's done in a very rough manner. It's not meant to be like a fantastic object as such. It's sort of very folk art, just knocked together
Yes.
in half an hour. Also, it's an extension of maybe mental consciousness space into the, like the home space there, and mixing internal and external things together. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Just in looking at your site, you have lots of videos as well on your site, and I refer back to what you said earlier about humour being. And I think you do mention Charles Chaplin in one of your interviews. And Charles Chaplin said, I think, I'm right in quoting him, he said, life is humorous in long shot and tragic in close up. Is that something, and it seems to me that some could argue that maybe that you're just making fun and having a laugh. How would you react to that sort of statement?
Chaplin was a genius.
Yes.
To begin with, like that, total kind of creative genius.
Yes.
He's very, very physical. That he had fantastic control over his body. Created like a new character.
Yes.
But also he was like a tragic comic figure as well, though, and that goes back into ideas about Greek tragedy as well. The gods are playing tricks on people as well. But humour is really, really important because it alleviates kind of maybe heavy ways of thinking.
Okay.
Also, I used to read a lot of Herman Hesse books.
Yeah.
And Steppenwolf book is about some sort of artist guy who's in despair.
Yes,
And at the end of that book, he gets a realisation that humour was his way out of despair. And it becomes this sort of airy bridge between a kind of reality and the unknown. And he gets a change of mentality. Yeah. So then he views the world with a maybe lighter frame of consciousness.
Yeah.
But humour, when I exhibited those films in Oriel Mostyn there, for the first time, that people didn't know what to do because art's a very serious activity. You're not meant to laugh at art. So we trapped in this little small shed space in the gallery.
Yeah.
and they didn't know whether they should laugh or not. And after about 10 minutes, somebody started laughing out loud.
Right.
And then the rest of them started laughing there.
Okay.
So humour is important. Humour is about intelligence though as well.
Okay.
It's not just about making fun and poking at things. It's about making comments. So not only Chaplin's important template, but the Simpsons as well though. Because the Simpsons use humour.
Yes.
To like attack politicians,
yes,
stuff like that. So they're using humour as a means, to make comments which are indirect.
Right,
and if you were to make them directly, it'll make them too political and will kind of alienate people. So humour finds a way to get under the surface of things. So.
Okay, that's an interesting concept. The book itself, Gwendraeth House, and beautifully printed.
Thank you.
Say. Yeah, it's I love the sort of the whole. Actually, there's one page here that reminds me of. The walking artist, the way you've laid it out and things. Exciting ways of showing stuff.
Yeah.
How was putting the book together for you? Because obviously it's a long-term project. There are lots of photographs spanning a number of years. How did you do it all yourself? Did you talk to other people? I mean, there's a forward here by Chris Koppak. How much did he help in creating this book for you?
It was collaborative project there. First part is that he gave me a lot of freedom to do what I wanted there, but he just left me alone to figure out sorts of sequences. I produced really high quality prints for it, which were then drum scanned and under Chris's supervision. So that's one of the reasons that kind of the catalogue looks really, really good because it was supervised to like high standards. But
so it wasn't produced as a book as such to sell. It was a catalogue for an exhibit for the exhibition.
Yeah. So which is about edition of 500 or something. There, I can't quite remember.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also kind of liked the fact that Chris let me sort of do what I wanted there. So I had some ideas I want to put my autobiography on there.
Yeah.
It's like a CV, but a CV done in a creative way. And he's going, fine, do that, whatever.
Yeah.
And we found interesting graphic ways to put everything together. So Chris was an important part in sort of the graphic part of it and on the production side of it, though, and thinking of overcoming problems and using gatefolds, etc. As a means to give it a little bit of sturdiness.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
But what I like about it, that it can't be consumed quickly, isn't it? But it becomes the process of looking at photographs becomes slowed down in it.
Yes. I mean, flicking through the book, I mean, there's another picture that stands out for me, and it's called Better Rooms. And that picture is... there's an awful lot of layers in your work. And it's to do with this emotional depth you're looking for. And would you regard that as having a lot of emotional depth for you personally?
Yeah. So with that picture, well, I'll tell you the title. The title comes from Gorky's zygotic monkey song, called Better Rooms.
Yes.
And that has an evocative atmosphere to it as well.
Right.
But in that image is like a portrait of my grandmother.
Yes.
And it deals with stages of age in there. So next to her are a number of kind of dresses and clothes which she wears there as well. Yeah. So in a way, that these clothes becomes like shed skins of snakes and stuff like that, whatever, that you outgrow something, that you go through the aging process there. Yes. And what you got left are these like kind of envelopes of clothes there.
Yes.
Also another little detail there, kind of quite important, because it's about walking, whatever, and lack of ability to walk because she's getting older. So she's got a little hopper frame there, and her walking sticks. And I put two walking sticks together to sort of put into like a heart shape, whatever.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
So I know it's a portrait about time though. So the exposure there was maybe about 30 seconds. So I tell my grandmother, stay still, Reverata.
Yeah.
So not only it's about the length of exposure, but it's about her age amongst the kind of atmosphere and age of the house, next to her clothes, which suggests different parts of her her life.
Yeah, and the slippers, you know, I love the slippers as well. The slippers on the core.
So it's was about immobility, whatever, right? And sort of walking as well, because she couldn't walk that far as well.
Yes.
So clothes do become like stand-ins of people. So I like shoes.
Yeah.
I would suggest.
Yeah.
Absences again, though.
Yeah. It's a lovely picture. I love that picture. And the wallpaper as well, you know, and it's you talk about layers of everything, layers in a house, and how you peel back the layers and look back through the history of the place, and its effect on you, a profound effect, I would imagine. Otherwise, you wouldn't have done this project. A repeat question: what have you learnt doing this project? About you. What have you learned about you?
I think it's just being obsessive about photography, really, right there. The thing is, it's about, you got an image in your mind, and if you don't make that image, externalize it, they're just lost forever.
Yes.
So it's about immediacy, of responding to time, moments, whatever, right, or to make an imprint of an ideal image there.
Yeah.
So I got an idea in my head, right, of that. There's an image there, a part of my job, whatever, through whatever kind of creativity, divination through photography and art, is to make what was invisible or unseen visible, and to fix it and capture it there. So that thought, feeling, emotion, whatever it is, that it's documented there.
Yeah. I mean, you're a bit like, Bob Dylan and his kind of never-ending tour, I guess.
True, yeah.
How do you see? I mean, how do you see it developing in the future? Because you've been at it for 30-odd years now. How is the project going to develop, do you think?
I'm working in several strands of projects as well, right. So I can flick backwards and forwards to them there. So with that Gwendraeth House project, I'm currently working on interiors and atmospheres for it there as well. Also, the next chapter deals with boundaries as well there. So the boundaries between the garden and the outside there.
Right, okay.
And I have a blurring of boundaries there.
Yes.
So photographing hedges, and then into deep space. Because I don't know that you noticed ever, right? The left-hand side of the hedge there is the graveyard there.
Yes, indeed it is, yes.
So kind of the kingdom of the dead, it's across the hedge there. So family members just get buried there as well. So literally across the hedge there.
Yeah.
And also the other side deals with more commercial aspects of the kind of the village, but boundaries.
Right. Okay.
Notions of boundaries and internal and external and atmospheres as well.
Do you think your quest for making the invisible visible? Do you believe that you've succeeded in doing that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. How about some are more successful than others, right there.
Yeah.
But I think so. Yeah.